Good morning. Let's get started. All right. A couple of runners this morning. Let's see here. All right, so we had S bet last week. Super interesting stock. So we tried the short. Unfortunately, I got stopped out on it, but that was the play. Huge red day on that thing. Really annoying chop though right here out of the open, or not out of the open, sort of after 10 o'clock. And that was it. After that, it came all the way down. So potential second red day on this. Nice little gap up. But I think I don't know, I might not touch this one today. I do think second red day is very likely. Let's see. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this has second red day. Might not go easy though. All right, let's take a look at some gappers here. PMN. This one's going to blow out the shorts. Early short sellers. A little bit tricky to short these in pre-market, but pretty obvious level here at $1.25. So it's testing that area. I don't know. This one could go higher. This one could go higher. Not really interested in this one yet. Let's see, GCTK is the next one. Actually, let me look at the news. I always like to look at that, at least see what's happening. Fast track designation by FDA. Good news. GCTK. No news on this one. Not up as much. Good one to keep a watch on. RDHL just started moving. Potential Algos setup. Positive FDA feedback, pathway to approval. So doesn't have approval, it's on its way to approval. Another biotech. So nothing outside the biotechs so far. HSDT already coming down. Portable neuromodulation stimulator. Upcoming submission to FDA. Show another one. Biotech. So some interesting looking gap and grabs. Maybe a second red day on SBET. IXHL. Looking like a trend break coming. Kind of pulled back to this trend line and it held up. So I want to see it bounce off of that and then maybe roll over later in the day. That's probably about it for the gappers. Yep. Smaller gappers here, we don't play those. All right. UAVS still on the move. Verizon had earnings. Big move up on earnings, though. Kind of gave it back a little bit. Interesting. So those options players are not going to be able to lock in like they want unless it comes back up. Super interesting, though, on that. Weeble is back. Now, I would love to see Weeble. Would love to see it hang out a couple days right around the high. That would be best case scenario for a breakout. Other than that, if it pops over the breakout today, then that might be all it can do. Another level up there. Another level down here. So you could say it's kind of broken. But really best case scenario for me is if it holds up for a couple of days, then we get another move higher. Wow, look at PMN just absolutely blowing out the short sellers. Early shorts getting ripped. All right, we got to be careful on Monday. We've been having some rough Mondays. And then Tuesdays have been where the money is. For whatever reason, that's how it's been working out. So we'll see what we get. We've got some swings on. Mainly, Apple's one of them. Apple is one of them. So have the long in the 210s, and yeah, it's looking like it wants to gap a little bit to 212s. But we really want to see it pick up steam and I don't know, go to 240s, 250s. D-Dog. Another swing from 139s. So we want to see this one break out too. Hard to say if it's going to make it up there, but we want it to break out of this. This is a pretty heavy volume day, mainly because of the after hours. You can see right at the end of the day there, a lot of orders coming through on the close. And that's what made this day right here have such a massive volume spike. So it wasn't the intraday trading, it was the end of day orders that came in, which for whatever reason never moved the stock much. It's almost like some dark pool activity or something. But regardless, that is the big day. We want to see it hold over that day. We'll call it 148. 147.80. Whatever the high is here. Let's see, what is the high? 147.85. So if we can push over 147.85, I think we're in the clear for a pretty nice move higher. We did get some analyst upgrades on this overnight. Yeah, right here. So moving the target to 165 from 119. Another one raises to 170. These are the analysts. Moving to 145 target. We're already at 145, so good job with that one. 165 target. So all these analysts are upgrading their D-Dog guesstimations. Really nice one at 170, 171. So we're seeing 140 to 170. Now I don't know why the price is 145, so you're raising to 145. Good job. Good job saying the stock is going to be what the stock is. Okay, fair enough. You don't think it's going higher. But all these other guys do think it's going higher, so that's nice. We're going to be in the 139s. So hopefully that will continue its way on to the breakout. And ultimately this mega trend break, which is coming, hopefully. And if that breaks, then we're going to be seeing maybe all-time highs coming. It's going to test all-time highs, hopefully. Morning, Scotty. So that's the hope for the swing on D-Dog. All right. PMN tearing up the shorts already. Some interesting gaps happening with Tesla's gapping up. Can it hold the gap? We'll see. It looks like it's in a pretty obvious wedge right here. So pretty clear wedge. It's trying to get to the top of the wedge. What's it do when it gets to the top of the wedge? Probably comes down to the bottom of the wedge. Earnings coming up on Wednesday for Tesla. Now I have this algo on Tesla. Let me refresh this. Yeah, there we go. So the algo's long from 313.45. Still long. So again, this algo is doing 1,400% since 2023. So that's the algo performance. Super interesting. That is still long. I would guess it's going to top out 340s. 340s, this is my guess. We're just going to trade in this wedge. Not sure if Tesla earnings are going to be good. I think Tesla earnings are supposed to be bad. And it seems like a lot of times with these earnings, they sort of flip-flop. They do the opposite of what it's currently doing. So usually if it's going up into earnings, then earnings drops it down. It's going down in earnings rips it back up. Just happened with Verizon today. Look at that. So Verizon was coming down, taking out some key support. Earnings ripped it back up. It's like opposite day. So maybe Tesla does something similar on Wednesday. Since we're up, maybe earnings drops it back down. Hard to say. So here's an earnings on Tesla that was down. So the stock was moving up pretty good, wedging, threatening to break out, and then earnings came and dropped it back down. Look at this one. Earnings was down, the stock was down huge. Earnings came out, boom, ripped it right back up. Pretty much opposite day. Another one, the stock was down, earnings comes out, rips it back up on earnings. Another one, it was down, earnings came out, popped it back up. Seems to be a pattern. Or I'm going crazy. So maybe we should do some gambling on the earnings. Verizon is probably the most interesting one today. Tomorrow we have Coke. Trump mentioned Coke too, so this is going to be a pretty popular one just because Trump said it. What else do we have? Let's see, GM. Nah, probably not going to be an interesting one. RTX. Nah. Oh, Lockheed Martin. Kyle Williams, long QBTS from 17s. Sweet. That's one of those quantum stocks. Really sketchy quantum stocks. Look at that thing. From the 17s. So he must have been buying this little shorter term breakout maybe on Thursday. And he's hoping for the breakout. So that looks really nice for a breakout. Yep, have to agree. That looks pretty sick. It's one of those mid-cap quantum stocks. It just seems like the company itself doesn't make any money. Let's see here. Q. Let's see. What do they got? Yeah, they're losing money consistently, but that's kind of how it is in quantum. They're just not really, they don't have anything going yet. Grok says coin 30% upside post cup and handle. Interesting. Yeah, so the quantum, the setup looks really good. The company looks really bad. But you know what? If it's a short squeeze, that's all the catalyst it needs. Company up too much, so shorts are going to pile in it. And if it doesn't go down, where's it going to go? Yeah, so coin is testing the breakout. There's all-time high right here. It's right at all-time high. It kind of wicked through it on Friday. pulled back. Now it's grinding back up. So yeah, maybe today is the day it breaks out. Maybe today it breaks out. Maybe it holds up for a day and then it breaks out sometime this week. Now, we did have the Schwab news saying that they're going to be offering crypto, Bitcoin and Ethereum, on the Schwab platform. And they're going to be doing that this year, apparently. So that is going to be a negative catalyst for Coinbase and Hood. Nice blow off. Yeah, it looks like it could be maybe a top, but man, since it's at the breakout level, if it's going to break out, usually it's gonna have to fight a little bit at the breakout level, and then if it holds up at the high here, ideally just like this, we had this recent high, it held up to the high held several days. It had one last little fake out, and then it moved higher after that. So hopefully we get that kind of action again. But it could just rip. It does look like a potential blow off. And it might all depend on what Bitcoin does. Bitcoin has had a recent breakout. So this was really the place to buy Bitcoin, right around 109. Pretty clear wedge breakout. Held a flag right here. This looks just like Apple breakout. But then this had a super explosive move up. Now it's kind of flagging again. We want to see it break out of this wedge now. Which I would bet it does. I bet this does go higher. I would say it's going to push up to maybe like 130, 140 area. On the next breakout. All right, here's the bell. Good luck, everyone. Careful on Monday. Don't get too excited. IXHL is going to be a big watch for me this morning. For a short. Intel earnings coming up this week too. Oh yeah, Tesla's going up out of the gate. Well, morning spikes usually fail, so we'll see what it does. Meta's a beast too, out of the gate. I did buy some Meta at 700 on Friday. This one's not quite right. Hood pulling back. Interesting. That was a big trend break on Hood. Medium trend break. Oh, that maybe was the play. Look at that. Scotty's on it. Okay, Tesla looks like it wants to come down now. Oh no, IXHL is moving too fast. It's okay. I'm trying to chase it. I can't chase it fast enough. Tried to get 82, it just teleported down on me. Maybe it'll pop back up a little bit. All right, Apple 213, nice. Hood breakdown pullback, Scotty. Let's see, yeah. Yeah, usually the second move's better than the first one. Yeah, I thought it was odd that MSTR was down so much with Bitcoin being so strong. So it makes me think that MSTR is kind of a breakout pullback to this horizontal level. Pretty hard pullback. So it could rip right back up today. Kind of an interesting one. SIGs on Apple, Meta, Amazon. Hood stopped. Yeah, I think if Hood reclaims high day area, that could be kind of explosive to the upside. All right, Tesla's pulling back a little bit, so we were kind of anticipating a push towards 340 and then pull back, just to keep us in that wedge. Obviously, earnings on Wednesday for Tesla. PMN coming down, giving the shorts a win. So push over the breakout. And then failing. Kind of a breakdown pullback on IXHL. Also a day 2 gap up short. See if it wants to come down now. Let's see how we're doing on Schwab. We bought some Schwab last week because they're going to be adding crypto to the platform, also trading near all-time highs. So Schwab could be seeing a big breakout. So we bought the dip, 95.16 average on Schwab. Let's take a peek here. Schwab. All right, so kind of hanging out. Up to 96. This is going to be a slow moving one, but potentially could be. Hopefully it's going to be pushing up towards 110, 115. Nice little hold on the dip in the morning. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Again, it's going to be a slow mover. Meta. Long from 700 on Friday. That one's ripping up nicely. Nike. Also long Nike. Got it at 72.63. So held the dip on the daily. We really want to see this hold up. Yeah, we really want to see this hold up and just continue higher now. No shenanigans, please. What else do we have? The dog. D-Dog. Very similar setup to Nike. Very similar. But totally different at the same time. Just a nice gap, dip hold, buy on the trend break. Now, if this holds the dip here, we're in good shape. Apple looking strong. We are long from the 210s. My biggest position is on Apple. So that's looking sick. All right, let's check in on some small gaps. We got, let me kill this ZimV. Yeah, we got to get rid of that. Wow, SABS squeezing big time. PMN just failing. I mean, that was a nice push up to the breakout. Failed breakout move. SBET squeezing back up. Here's SBET. Good thing I didn't try to short that. I figured this one would be annoying. Higher float tends to be more annoying. But it had a huge follow through day on Friday. What else? What else? UNH is going to be an interesting one. Honestly, Hood still looks like breakdown pullback so far. But UNH, super interesting one because we've had this huge drop, 50% off the top, and we went into this massive wedge. Fake breakout out of the wedge. Now we're breaking down. Now the question is, how low can it go? Because I do think this is a lot of panic selling. A lot of panic selling. People panicking that this wedge broke to the downside. And it wasn't supposed to do that. But I think this is a massive shakeout. The question is, how deep can it dip before it starts coming back up? So that'll be the question. It's holding pretty good right now. I was expecting it to go a little bit lower than that. I was thinking worst case scenario, 260s, 250s. If it got truly parabolic into that dip, like a max panic kind of situation. So it's kind of holding here. This might be all it's got in it for the dip. 5.3. Let's see. So it broke out 5%. Look at that. Pretty much exact mirror. So you have a 5% breakout of the wedge and a 5% breakout to the downside. So again, 5% breakout to the upside. And now we have a 5% breakout or breakdown to the downside. So it's almost like a mirror image. It reminds me of, I can't remember the stock exactly, but you get a double fake out and then the move happens. So it almost reminds me of that situation. But yeah, I'll be looking to get back into UNH for the swing long. When it starts reclaiming some of these moving averages, I just want to see it come back up a little bit. Maybe reclaim these smaller ones. And then it'll probably be back on. So since this broke down, this is the first time that we haven't made a new low in the morning. So yeah, right there, that's a new low. So 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row, it made 4 days in a row, it made new lows in the morning. And now today, so far it hasn't. So maybe a behavior shift there. 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row, it made new lows in the morning. And now today, so far it hasn't. So maybe a behavior shift there. 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row, it made new lows in the morning. And now today, so maybe a behavior shift there. Still no rush to get in. Maybe keep an eye on this trend break right here. Got too many lines on this chart. There we go. So this trend line, that's what I want to see. Reclaim that. Maybe buy in 280s or 290s. And then hopefully it reclaims the wedge and breaks out for real towards the end of the year. Nice pullback on Tesla. Simply staying in its wedge. Let me check the algo on Tesla. Yeah, it's got a ways to go here. So the algo doesn't do the best in wedges, but it does amazing on the breakouts. See you, Scotty. Have a good one. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this pushed up to 340, 340, 340s, 345, something like that, and it just comes back. Interesting that hood is weakening. Coin kind of hanging in there too. Fighting a little bit. I would love to see the consolidation on it. And MSTR still weak too. SABS looks like it's in a mega squeeze right now. All right. So Depro had that offering last week. It does seem like it may be an okay time to try a short on it. Little tricky though. Try a little bit. All right, whole idea is backside bounce short. off the offering. Kind of killed the momentum. Let's see, other drones are UAVS, PRZO, having a red day. Xena was a big one. Kind of looking weak. ONDS. That one's kind of strong. UMAC. Weak, so mostly weak. Let's see. I don't think there's going to be anything else for me so far. I like that Tesla pullback though. This might be the chance to buy Tesla for a little swing. SPY higher. Pretty incredible. Sig target on Tesla. Oh. Ooh. That's kind of a wide target though. Oh, that's from last week. Yeah, that'd be great. I don't know if it can get down there though. Hmm. See, it's kind of pulled back to yesterday's high. Yeah, it's a little tricky. Kind of feels like the swing idea is pretty much played out now. Because the whole plan was buy at 313, sell into the top of the wedge. Now, it's not quite to the top of the wedge yet, and we have earnings coming up on Wednesday, so maybe it comes back pretty hard. Might come back up. Try a little piece. I'll try a little piece. But one of the simplest ways of thinking about it too is if it's in an uptrend and you are blessed with the pullback, that's the place to get back in. But yeah, I mean, this play is kind of done because it's really, you could sell something like, what do you get? I don't know, you could make 6 or 7% on that little swing. SPY going nuts. What's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin's at 119. Core Weave is an interesting one for maybe a swing. Yep, if we can reclaim some moving averages, maybe. It is up a lot, but this could keep going. It is sort of backside at the moment, but, you know, if it reclaims, breaks out some more, nothing's going to stop it. All right, the analysts are at it again on Tesla, 341 price target. 341. Kind of expecting that run up into earnings. We'll see how it plays out. Looking like a red day today. Maybe tomorrow it totally reverses and goes back up. And then on Wednesday, I'm guessing down on earnings. Small position on Tesla. Giving it a little bit of room. I'm going to probably add if it dips some more. Ooh, PMN coming back up. Squeezing the shorts out. They thought they had it. SABS squeeze is done, it looks like. All right, I gotta get going. That's gonna be it for me. I have a couple small shorts on IXHL, DPRO. Gonna see if those play out. Maybe try to get into Tesla long for an overnight or something like that. But that'll be about it for me. And we have a message from LB. It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you get hit and keep on moving forward. That's how winning is done. True. All right, good luck, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow.